Hello and thanks for stopping by the Sister Cousins Lifestyle channel. My name is Sandy and in today's video we are out and we're headed to do some vintage shopping. We're going to go to this cute little spot called the Grasshopper. It's located in Matthews, North Carolina. So we're going to go in there and just see what they have going on. I love antique or vintage shopping for things for my home. I think any well-designed home is going to have some vintage pieces kind of peppered in with your decor style. And that's what I like to do, is look for very unique pieces that will fit in nicely with my decor style. I love coming into this store. They always have such interesting pieces to look at, and I like to spend a lot of time when I come in here because they have so many things in here on the walls, all the way up to the ceiling in some cases. So I really have to take my time and look around to make sure that I don't miss anything. This desk right here is beautiful, very nicely made in pristine condition, and you can tell that that is indeed solid wood. It's probably been around here quite a while. I've seen some markdowns on here because I couldn't really tell what the exact price is on it. There are some scales of justice over there. There was a time where I had been hunting for something like this a long time ago. I'm over it now, but that's a nice antique piece there. Very nice. There's a really nice candle holder here. It is brass and it's got the three pieces on it, but they're separate pieces, but I thought it was really unique. I am looking for some wall art, so I'm paying close attention to what they have up on the walls to see if I see anything that speaks to me or to my style. So I'm looking around as I'm looking through these cases and everything, but I want to make sure that I check out these art pieces here. Now, this wall art piece here, I did take out my phone and I Google lensed it to get some history on this particular style of art. And I found out that it's African batik, I think it's called, and it is from West Africa. And it really has an interesting history as how this particular type of style of painting or whatever is done. It's interesting that they have this vase here or vessel or whatever with these wooden spoons in here. And I like to display my utensils in the kitchen or whatever. That's a unique way. Now, that is solid brass or copper, I should say, and it needs to be cleaned up. But I bet that would be really pretty once it's cleaned up. I would not put that kind of elbow muscle into it or elbow grease into it, but I bet it would be nice. Sometimes you can find interesting looking rugs in antique stores as well, like this zebra rug here that I almost missed because there's so much going on top of it. This area over here caught my eye because there's an old typewriter, but this cabinet here is a piece that's been here for a very long time, because I'm going to say it's probably been at least 6 months since I've been here, and this piece was here then. So it must not be beautiful to anyone but me, but I think it's gorgeous. That's a nice piece there if you have the room for it and the space for it or whatever, but it's nice. I like this mirror too, of course. I have something very similar. Mine is not an antique, but it's very similarly made. I've spotted this hand from across the room. It is copper. I'm seeing a lot of copper in here today, but it was really interesting. It's just like somebody has a raised hand up. But anyway, it's $125 for this thing. It's interesting that it says it's from the 1940s. I wonder what somebody used that for in 1940. Just seems kind of odd to me. This wall art caught my attention. This is a zebra, and I mentioned that I just have a thing for zebras, but I was on Facebook Marketplace the other day, and I saw a zebra print in here that this really reminds me of, and it was only $15. Not that I'm going to buy it, but just an observation that I remember as I was strolling Marketplace seeing something very similar to this. Now, this little area here really caught my attention. They have some vintage luxury pieces in here, and I love looking at things like this. So they had some Louis Vuitton in here. They had some Hermes. I saw some Dior. Beautiful, beautiful pieces. If you're into luxury vintage pieces, which are the better pieces, I must say I am partial to the antiques or the vintage pieces, because the luxury items that they're making today, it ain't the same. But that's the same with anything. Those are some really nice glasses there. They are vintage Ralph Lauren glasses. Beautiful. Now, I could stay over here looking at this stuff all day long. This is my vibe right here. I love some nice vintage pieces. They don't have a lot in here, but they have some really nice pieces. I'm looking for some nice coffee table books today. I'm looking at their lamps. I'm also looking at their wall art. Those are the items that I'm kind of targeting today as I come in. And I usually try to target certain items when I come in just so that I can kind of keep some some focus going and not miss out on, anything. I'm checking out art. I'm really looking for some original pieces. I would like to have some original art pieces in my home, but they're so expensive. So I'm going to have to look up on them somewhere in a thrift store, vintage store, antique store, something like that. But it has to be something that I love and something that's priced right. They do have a lot of nice coffee table books in here today, so I am excited about that. I'm going back here in this room here. This place, anytime you go into antique stores, well, a lot of times you go into antique stores, you think that the place is small, but you find out that there are little rooms and cubbies all in there, and you can just get lost in some of these places. And this place is not huge, but they do have some hidden spaces in here. I am spotting a coffee table book back there that's entitled Yoruba. And that is a book that I'm interested in. I love the way that it looks and everything. So I'm kind of checking out these others here before I pull that one out. But I really do like that one. It is about sculptures in West Africa. And so I want to look at it and see if it's one that I would enjoy reading, because I actually like to look through my coffee table books. I don't just decorate with them. So I want to see if this was something that would get my interest. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to read it cover to cover, because I'm not. But I do like to look through it, and I like to get inspiration from my coffee table books. I also collect vinyls, and so when I'm in an antique store, vintage store, whatever, I'm always looking to see if they have any vinyls that I might want to add to my collection as well. I'm spotting something that I have not seen since I was a child. It is a Chinese checkers game. Does anybody remember Chinese checkers? That was a thing back in the day, but you don't hear anything about that anymore. Look at these little bunnies here, and they're expensive for these little things. They're cute. I also like looking at their glasses and dishes and things like that. They usually have some really interesting glasses. We saw those in vintage Ralph Lauren ones over there. And look at these really pretty green and blue glasses here. They always have something really different in that area as well. I know some people feel really weird about buying vintage items or thrifted pieces or whatever, but as it relates to dishes and things like that, if you ever go out to a restaurant to eat, you're eating off of dishes that others have eaten off of. At least with something from a vintage store that you buy and bring home, you know that you prayed over them and cleaned them with bleach and put them through the dishwasher and all of the things, so you know that they're clean. Whereas at the restaurant, you don't know. Look at these beautiful yellow chairs. These are gorgeous. They had a set of 4. They are so different. They are very mid-century modern. Look at the arms on those. So different. They don't look comfortable at all, but they are super cute. And that's a nice wooden lamp behind it there. They always have some nice lamps to choose from in here when I come in here. Those are the other 2 yellow chairs to that set that I talked about. In hindsight, I should have sat in them to see what they felt like. They just didn't even look comfortable to me. Ooh, I love this. That would be a beautiful beverage cart, a coffee station. Look at this. This is gorgeous. I love this. And I even like the handles on there. Everything. It's so heavy duty, very thick, sturdy wood. Very, very nice. I love that. That will make a really cute little coffee station if you have the room for something like that. That's nice. Look at these canisters here. They look like some old school Tupperware that probably most households had some years ago. They look very, very familiar to me. We may have had something like that in my house growing up. I don't know. This bookshelf is a vibe here. I would probably paint it, but look how they have the books here set on there. I really like that. And that probably wasn't always a book stand. It probably was a CD rack or something like that, but I like the way they had those books displayed on there. A piece of art is catching my eye, and I'm trying to get over here and get a closer look at it. This place is crowded today, by the way, so I'm trying to weave my way around people to make sure I don't get anybody on my camera. But the art is just an old house, and it's a black and white, and it reminds me of the house that my mom grew up in rural Virginia. And we went over to see that house a couple years ago, and I wish that I had taken a picture of it. Actually, I may have one, and if I do, I'm going to blow it up and frame it, and that would be a perfect addition to my legacy wall. This is a beautiful piece of art. I really like this. It's very different. I don't know what it is. It's just abstract art, but I like the colors in there and everything. Very nice. And it's actually nicely framed, which is rare in a vintage store, antique store. You don't always find things that are framed in such a way that I would take that home, clean it, and use it just as is. This is another nice piece here. And this one here as well looks like just some pastel colors or whatever. Very pretty. And this is a nice little reminder here. Happiness is not a destination. It is a way of life. Isn't that the truth? Nobody can make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. I have really been focusing on trying to keep myself busy with activities that I love or things that make me happy. And this is one of the things that makes me happy, walking around an antique store. Look at this. This is a chest from the Civil War. Oh my God. I bet you this thing has seen some things and could tell you some stories. I wonder where it's been all this time. That's the kind of stuff that just has me curious. I love history these days. I did not always love history. As a kid or whatever in school, I was not a fan of history, but now I love learning about things that happened. Whereas if I had paid attention when I was back in school, I know a whole lot more than I do. This book caught my attention and I really wanted this book. It's in great condition and I kind of flipped through it and I saw some things that I wanted to research further. So I wanted to purchase it, but it did not have a price on it. And the way that this place works is they have different vendors, different booths or whatever, and the store owner kind of runs everything. And so she tried to get in touch with the owner of this particular booth to get a price for me, and she was not able to reach them or whatever. And so at the time that I'm doing this voiceover, she contacted me back today, several days later since I was in there, and she told me that the book was $25. I don't think I'm driving back over there for it, but I did really want that book. So if it's still there whenever I go back, maybe. But yeah, for now, we're just going to say we'll just let it pass. This place also has a lot of vintage costume jewelry and things like that. I always like to kind of look and glance over at that too to see if I see any pretty pieces. But I am spotting a bowl here that's really pretty, and I had to get a closer look at it. It's kind of like a smoky gray color, very unique in style and everything, the shape of it and everything. I have no use for anything like that, but I thought that was so beautiful. And it was $70 for that piece. This piece is from the mid-60s. It's by Dorothy Thorpe, who apparently was known for her triangular shaped bowls and things like that. And yeah, very interesting. Never heard of her before, so I learned something else new today. This is a chest here that is very interesting too, if this is your style. This one, it was in pretty good condition, very heavy duty and very colorful. Definitely drop down in the comments below. Let me know if anything caught your eye as we're doing this walkthrough that I did not mention, or if anything that I did mention that you liked or whatever. I would love to hear what caught your eye, because when I do these walkthroughs, I can't see everything, although I try to. A lot of times when I'm doing my voiceover, I'm actually shopping my own video, looking at things like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I should have checked that out or whatever. That's what I do. Like this book stand here, I sat right here and went to this book here, but did not notice that acrylic stand on there. I didn't even see it. So now I'm wondering, like, how much was that? Because that would be nice. Love that. Even the table that it's on, it looks like that is solid brass. It looks very, very heavy duty. They had a lot of brass pieces in here today as well as copper, but that's a really nice looking table. They're very sturdy. It's so interesting to see some of these pieces and you just wonder, like, what is the history on these? Where have you been? What have you seen? What stories do you have? Look at this hand. Here's another one. I don't know what the people were doing back in the day with these hands up here, but they're just has that long arm like they're just raising their hand. That's very interesting. And what's interesting is that there's a lot of hand decor that's out today, that you see in the stores today. And I'm actually like attracted to that type of decor or whatever. I have several pieces in my own home, but it's so interesting. Like, what is it really? So I'm over here at their vinyl collection now. They also have a large selection of cassettes as well. I do not have a cassette player, but I love my vinyl. So I'm looking in here to see if there's anything that I can add to my collection today. And look at these floor candlesticks. Those are really nice. They would be pretty like next to a fireplace or something like that. Very nice. This is a nice lamp too. It is teak wood and it is mid-century modern in style too. Very different. Look at that. Very nice lamp. I like that. Well, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this walkthrough of the Brass Grasshopper Vintage Store, which is located in Matthews, North Carolina. If you're in the area, I highly recommend that you stop in. As you can see, they have lots of jewels in this place, and you can spend a lot of time in here if this is your thing. If it is your thing and this is the type of video that you enjoy watching and you're not currently subscribed, I would like to ask that you consider hitting that subscribe button before you leave today. I would love to have you as a part of my YouTube family. And if you hit that post notification bell, you will be notified each time I upload additional videos. And to all my returning family members, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that I see you all over here on my next one. Bye-bye.